16 and 18, the men of Virginia had a variety of complaints. One of those being, as we are subjects of the King, like our countrymen in England, having now prosperity and peace in this year, with the marriage of Pocahontas to John Rolfe in 16 and 14, with the prosperity of the tobacco crop, now being grown for about 6 years in the colony. Actually, there's tobacco everywhere. There's spare spots filled with it. But it had prospered us. But since we have this great peace and prosperity, why is it we are still governed under martial law? Do we not have rights, the same privileges, the same means of government as our countrymen who have not chosen to come here? Makes sense. Well, the king thinks so too. So he calls to himself George Yardley. And George Yardley, I can see you're surprised, he was a common man. He came hither as the captain of the guard, having risen through the ranks, his beginning as a soldier in the ranks of Sir Thomas Gates. But by virtue of his personality, his bravery, his integrity, he had risen through the ranks to be captain of the guard. He had served as lieutenant governor. He had served as acting governor. And when it was time to appoint a new royal governor, it was him chosen by the king. So he calls him to England to bestow upon him his honor, title, and riches, and company, as well as to knight him Sir George Yardley. Myself, having returned in 16 and 16 when it were permitted, did find him an appropriate match at that time for myself. Typically, I would not be wedding upon him. But with him having been knighted and appointed royal governor, I did think him a fit match for a noble woman such as myself. Thus I were returned to the colony in April of 16 and 19 with my new husband to prepare for the changes that were to come. Sir George Yardley were charged with reordering the government. Oh, well, musician. I do so love a musician. Perhaps a lot of songs. I just so hope. I do love a musician. I'm one myself. Well then, he will reorder the government. The council, do you remember the council? Were appointed by the king, who would elect amongst themselves a president that was then replaced by the royal governor. That council would become the upper house, just like Parliament. The lower house would be comprised of burgesses elected from each county and plantation, 2 from each. And they would comprise the lower house of government. Together, they are the General Assembly to meet yearly to create the law of Virginia. Now, this is a heavy day, can you imagine? Being a part in the making of the law of government. Which was July of 16 and 19, that all would meet here in this very church on an intemperate hot day to do just that. imagine them in their finery, sitting herein with all the doors and windows closed, which is quite the private thing, fainting each day as one grew sicker, as they grew sicker and sicker. One did even die of the sickness he contracted while enduring these meetings. So they did meet for about 6 days. But during that time, despite the heat, they were not idle. Many a ball were made regarding what we might grow, who might truck or trade with the Indians, what you might wear. You're not permitted to dress above your face. A tax upon man and man's